And welcome to chapter 5. And in this chapter, you're going to learn about rainfall, hail, thunderstorms, lightning. But a really important concept before you get onto those is to learn the difference between free convection and forced convection. So let's dig into these concepts a little bit more. Let's consider free convection first. So, free convection occurs when the earth is heated rather unequally and one area is relatively warmer adjacent to another area. This warmer area, you'll find that the air in contact to that warms up, and that warmer air adjacent to cooler air starts to rise. So this is free convection. An example may be on a warm summer afternoon where you might have a black covered parking lot. That warms the area next to it, and the air freely rises. In Florida, we tend to have abundant moisture, so you don't really need the air to rise very high in order for that air to cool and then condense. Now let's consider forced convection. So forced convection occurs when you don't have that situation where you've got some warm air at the surface which is ready to rise kind of relative to the adjacent air. So instead, we need some kind of nudge for that air to rise. And this nudge is basically called forced convection. And you can have forced convection set up through different scenarios. So, for instance, if you were in Pennsylvania or Colorado, where you have the mountains, you can have air meeting the mountain and it's forced to rise. So that's one example. Here in Florida, where I live, we don't have those mountains, but we can still have forced convection. So examples of how you can get forced convection in Florida without the mountains would be from sea breezes, from thunderstorm outflow boundaries, and even with fronts. So with fronts, for instance, where you have cold air and perhaps some warm air, then the warm air meets the cold air, the warm air being less dense will be forced to rise. Let's consider the sea breeze boundary. So along the ocean, you have air coming into the land. As it moves over the land, it starts to move slower because the air is being encountered with city buildings and so on. So you've got friction, which will slow the air down. Behind that, you've got air coming in quite fast from the sea where you don't have as much friction on the air because you don't have those buildings and so on. So you've got fast air meeting the slower air, and that fast air converges with the slower air, forcing that air to rise. So those are different examples of the forced convection. So I hope you enjoy learning more about forced convection and free convection in this chapter, because those are really important concepts you have to learn as you learn about the rainfall, the hail, and the lightning, and the so on. So please check out the extra resources in this chapter, and I hope you enjoy the chapter. Thank you.